Hey guys, RJ here, and I've been standing here for about 10 to 15 minutes trying to come up with an intro, and honestly, I don't think this episode needs one, so here's our episode 9 review of 13 Reasons Why. As always, guys, if you have not seen episode 9 of 13 Reasons Why on Netflix, please turn this review off, go watch it, and then come back. I don't want to ruin anything for you, and this episode in particular would ruin a ton. So this is tape 5, side A, and I did not really believe the name when I heard it. It is Justin Foley's second tape, guys. Second tape indeed, and it's a biggin. I mean, I had my preconceived notions as to where the show was going to go, and I thought Justin would be the last tape. I thought I knew what he did, and obviously I was completely wrong, but here we are. We get this beautiful episode with Clay going through all of these characters about knowing this event that's happened. We, the viewer, don't even know what Hannah has said yet on the tape, but Clay is already up in people's faces, like Jessica, we need to talk, Justin, we need to talk, and even Tony at the end, he basically scolds. So I like the way that they kind of subverted my expectations versus what I actually thought was going to happen. I thought it was beautifully done, and yeah, so Clay pretty much goes into school and immediately goes up to Jessica saying a crime happened to you, we should tell people about it, and Jessica's no, nothing happened, nothing bad happened at all. Obviously Foley comes in eventually and is stay away from my girlfriend, and they're clearly at the edge here. I would say everyone that is on the tapes is on the edge. They're super worried about what Clay's gonna do because he could pretty much destroy all of them, and I'm kind of surprised he hasn't at this point. Before we get to the big talk, let's speak about a few other things that happened in this episode, some smaller things, like the fact that Hannah Baker's dad goes in with the magazine that we saw from last week with the poem that she wrote, and he basically shows it to Mr. Porter and he yells at him, and this ends up setting off Hannah's mom because she's you gave them the only leverage that we had, and I agree with both parents kind of. I agree with him going in and yelling at Mr. Porter because, they should have seen this and eventually actually ask questions, and obviously it's hard to tell from a poem that someone's in trouble, but I think this one was pretty obvious, and he states that fact. This is so obvious. She has stones on her legs, and yeah, I thought that part was great. Another thing is that eventually they have Shaver come in from last episode. He sits down with Mr. Porter, and once again, the back and forth between the students and Mr. Porter, he has to be on those tapes. He has to be mentioned somewhere because they all keep talking about consequences, and that we had pretty much everyone that's been in his office has given him a dirty look or some sort of fashion. I think that he's clearly at fault in some fashion at this point. We don't really know what. I'm guessing he's later on in the tapes, but yeah, man, those two scenes alone I thought had a lot of power to them, and I like but I like the way that they shot the fight between the Bakers, and they're basically fighting because they're trying to fight the school, but they're also trying to fight to find out what happened to their daughter. So Clay knows something terrible, and it seems like he's going to release it to the public, and he's going to get these kids in trouble. So what do? The kids on the tape, Marcus, Justin, all of them, they decide to plant a bag of weed in Clay's backpack pretty much, and they end up telling Mr. Porter about it, and they obviously have the vice principal and the police come in, and he ends up getting caught. I do like the little bits with him and Sky throughout this episode, and I still think she has to be a semi-important character. Why would they keep bringing her back with this scene in the classroom with Clay, her hiding her knife under her leg or whatever, her contraband? I thought that was amazing. I like Sky as a character a lot in general. I think she has a very gives zero shits attitude, and just the way that she kind of gives herself off. I really like the fact that she doesn't give any shits. That alone, I just like her as a character. So yeah, he ends up getting caught with this weed that's not his. He ends up getting suspended for a few days, and yeah, I like the fact that they finally took action against Clay, but I think it was really sloppily done in general because one, he knows who did that. He knows all these people that are on the tape, so I don't really see how they're going to gain anything from it. If anything, it's just going to prove them as more guilty. They could have tested Clay for marijuana or something, and he could have been clearly I don't smoke, and I don't know. I feel I understand that how desperate they're getting because they're afraid he's going to tell everyone about them, but at the same time, it's almost proving that you are guilty at this point if the tapes in fact do get out. I don't know. I just feel it was a sloppy move on Marcus and their part, and I mean, they're teenagers, so clearly they're reckless, they don't think things through, and I think that one's probably going to come back to bite them. So let's get to the main event of this episode. We end up finding out that at Jessica's party, and I like these bits. I like the bits they show at the party between Clay and Hannah. They're such a good couple, and that just makes it all the more painful is how well they actually flow together. And probably what could have been between them and, maybe like a lifelong marriage. I don't know. I just love the way that Clay and Hannah play off one another as actors, as in the story itself. It seems so perfect to me. They're both like awkward in a perfect kind of way. And I always root for people like this as a couple. Like I was hoping so bad. Obviously we know that they don't get together, but I do like the scenes in which at this party that they're flirting, just having fun. They're just high schoolers having a good time. And yeah, I thought that was great. But we end up seeing, there's everyone drinking at this party. Everyone's getting wasted. And Justin and Jessica decide to go up to her room and, they're getting a little frisky. Well, Hannah actually was in there from some previous event that we don't know about yet. But I do have some speculation as to what happened. I think it's pretty obvious that it's something between her and Clay. Hopefully it's not terrible. I really don't think Clay is guilty of anything too bad, at least on these tapes. I am curious to hear his. Hopefully it's soon. But yeah, I think that she was there because of that. I think something to do with Clay, but she's in her room. She's hiding in the corner and she hears, them come in stumbling, drunk, making out, all of that stuff. And then eventually Jessica passes out. Yeah, so Jessica passed out. Justin ends up leaving, and then eventually, like the first time we see the scene, we think that Justin comes back. Like earlier in the episode, we think that Justin is the one that comes back into the room, and we're led to believe that he rapes her. I mean, that's pretty much the vibe that like when Clay questions Jessica and talks to his mom, we are led to believe that Justin committed a crime, that he raped her, when in fact, and that was, by the way, my preconceived notion. I thought Justin probably raped Jessica. She didn't remember it, and she didn't believe the tapes, but they threw me for a loop here, right? Justin pretty much left the room, and then he runs into Bryce outside, and Bryce is really drunk as well, just like everyone else at the party. And then instead of like, him and Justin like look like they would probably go downstairs, and all of a sudden Bryce is like, oh, like let me see Jessica. And it's so weird because you're like, yeah, she's drunk and passed out, and they're like, what could you possibly want to see? Well, of course, we find out he pretty much storms in, starts doing things to her, and Justin, like, initially, like, lets him in, which is just all the more weird. He says, like, what's yours is mine. That's the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard in my entire life. Just because you are dating someone and you're best friends with someone and they've done everything for you, like, it doesn't matter. This is so preposterous on so many different levels. I can't even begin to fathom how he, like, rationalized this even while drunk in his head. Like, dude, you just don't let another dude in while your girlfriend is passed out wasted on her bed. So yeah, he goes in, he does stuff to her, he ends up raping her. And even Justin tried, I will give him one thing, he did try at least to go back in and like pull his friend off. Bryce just basically like gets like, rage, rape, drunk, or angry at him. He picks him up, tosses him out of the room, and you just see Justin there like crying, and it's like, dude, like go downstairs, get some people. I just do anything but what you're doing now, and it's astounding to me. So yeah, Hannah is inside the room watching this. She sees Bryce doing this thing to Jessica, raping her. I can't even imagine. She's like hiding in the closet, like crying. I would love to put more blame on her as well, but she wasn't even supposed to be there. She obviously should have come out too. They both should have come out and like yelled at him or ran downstairs and gotten someone. I don't know. It's hard for me to like pass judgment on that because I've never been in anything close to that situation. So yeah, Bryce is totally fucked up. That whole thing with him going in and raping another dude's girlfriend, that like this dude is screwed up beyond belief. I don't know if it's like his rich privilege that like gave him this idea or if he's just like screwed up in general. I just think that whole scene was ridiculous. Like it really did. It made me look away from the camera or from the TV multiple times. So yeah, that's pretty much like the big secret, at least as far as I can tell. That was the secret that everyone was talking about, that, they kept bringing up Jessica's party, what happened at Jessica's party. Well, now we know what happened at Jessica's party, and none of it was good. I did not really see this coming. I'm still in shock. I'm still in surprise. I really did not see. I could tell that they were setting up Bryce to be something, right? He's in like all of the tapes previously, and all of the kids in the show say like, you can't let Bryce hear this. And it just made no sense to me whatsoever. I thought maybe they were just afraid like if they got in trouble, then Bryce would also get in trouble, like due to just collateral damage. But that ends up not being the case. Bryce is truly the bad guy in this. And I mean, don't be wrong, some fellow bystanders like Justin deserve a little bit of blame for not doing anything about it. This is ridiculous. Bryce is clearly like he has to go to jail at the end of this. I think I don't see any other conclusion. I don't know how Clay's gonna get him. I don't know if like Hannah had a recording of this or something, but I'm really interested to see what Clay does from here. He clearly is questioning his mom on like what he could do evidence wise, you know, and pretty much he finds out like Jessica has to admit that the rape happened in order for them to take it to court and have any chance of winning. So yeah, I don't know if he's eventually going to try and get Jessica to admit what happened or get Justin to like make her admit. But man, like he's in way over his head. I think he's in for way more than he bargained in this. And I mean, you can kind of tell throughout this episode, he's losing it. Well, guys, that is pretty much it for me today. Thank you so much for watching. I think this show is fantastic. I know that there's a lot of bad media out there about health concerns and mental health and a few other things. I'm not reviewing this on that. I'm reviewing this as a TV show only. I am no expert on mental health, and I'm never going to act like I am. So I'm just reviewing this as a TV show. I think it's fantastic. I think Netflix is attacking a lot of serious points that people don't want to talk about. I like the way they're doing it. I like the style they're choosing. I think it's all very well done. I love the music again this episode. So let me know your guys' thoughts. What do you guys think of this show? All of the media stuff aside, what do you guys think? Do you guys like this show still? I'm in love with it. I can't wait to watch the last few episodes. I'm definitely going to go downstairs and finish another one. So let me know your thoughts down below. Like this video if you liked it. Subscribe to us here on YouTube. That helps us out the most. We also have a bunch of social media links down in the video description, including Reddit, Twitter, Facebook, all that jazz. So let me know what your thoughts are. Give me some theories on what you guys think is going to be the ending of this series if you haven't seen it already. And until next time, guys, we'll see you soon.